Hello everyone, welcome to the video and welcome back to the update 1.89 development server, where today we're going to be taking a look at the F-86K Sabre dog. This of course is the export variant of the F-86D, which was used by the US Air Force and was sort of a modernization, but in a way a complete redesign of the F-86 Sabre. So this variant, the export variant, the K, was used both by the Italians, the Germans and the French. So far, only the French have it, although in the skin files for this aircraft there is also a template for the Italian paint scheme, so we might be getting that this update. So this is a tier 6 9.0 jet fighter. Effectively what it has is 4 20mm cannons and the capability to also carry 2 AIM-9B sidewinders, and it has radar, although currently in this variant of the dev server the radar was not functional. So what this basically does is it takes the best bits of all of the Sabres and puts them into one. You've got the good maneuverability and roll rate that I would compare with the F2 Sabre, but of course also with the other later Sabres. Also the great acceleration. This does of course have an afterburner, which no other Sabres in game have to the best of my knowledge, so the afterburner gives it much better acceleration, better climb rate. All that is improved, and of course the air-to-air missiles that feature on the Japanese Sabre variants. So pretty good stuff there, and the radar, of course, when it's functional, will help, especially in nighttime games or very cloudy conditions. You will effectively be able to know where the enemy team is, so that way you can look out and be better prepared for when they attack you. Now, the American equivalent of the F-86K, the D variant, did not have any sidewinders. I believe the only thing it could be equipped with was a fuselage-mounted rocket pod, kind of similar to the pod on the Super Mystere, where it sort of lowers down, fires the rockets, a similar thing to that. That was what it was equipped with. I'm not sure if that replaced the guns, or if that was alongside the guns. I'm not hugely well-versed on the later variants of the Sabre, although this one we have in game now does not have any rocket pods, and in fact can only use the AIM-9Bs and the guns. No other weaponry, no ground strike capability, just the missiles. And as you saw there, took down a MiG-15, and these missiles are in fact the AIM-9B. This is the earlier variant. This is the first infrared air-to-air missile that was originally available on the F-100. Now that's sort of been succeeded by the AIM-9E. The AIM-9B only 6 Gs of sort of G limit. It's not that maneuverable. So it only really takes a small turn from an enemy aircraft that it's being fired at for that aircraft to evade the missile. So you will have to have your wits about you. You will have to pick targets that you think you do have a good chance of hitting. So into our first game, Afghanistan, fairly big air map. Started off basically just climbing. Of course, on the dev server, it is bots everywhere. There's not enough people to fill up games constantly, so there are bots. I take a few sort of lead shots on a Yak-9. I missed them, so I decided to use up my 2 missiles. 2 Tu-2Ss, I decided to just take them out, use them as missile practice. So there's one of them. Get aimed up on the other one. I just need to wait for it to lock on. Once it does, I fire off, and I did get close to being hit. He did start firing at me, but luckily I took him down before he could kill me. So moving on, I go for some more fighters. Effectively, there's just a long line of enemy bot aircraft flying away from the airfield, so it's very easy to use as target practice. There is an LA-9. Now, of course, the F-86K, talking about it in a bit more detail, was used not only by the French, but also by the Italians. Most of the French ones were actually built by Fiat, which of course is an Italian company, and a lot of the Fiat-built ones also were used by the Italian Air Force. So Italy will probably be getting this, if not this update, then at some point in the future. Also Germany used them. The thing about Germany, they do already have the CL-13s. This could just be a good backup vehicle that you just have in the lineup, that you have on the tech tree. That could be a good place just to put it in Germany. Italy, I think, will get it. France obviously does have it. Germany, I don't know. Maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. So I think it's a 50-50 chance. We'll just have to wait and see. And the Americans, the F-86D, it's not exactly the same, but it is more or less a copy and paste. So Gaijin would just have to change a few things about the physical model just to make it an F-86D, and then the Americans have theirs as well. So I think that's what they should do. Just give it to everyone who had it, then no one can complain. But the aircraft itself, so as you can see if you've been watching the footage, the roll rate is very good at speed. Great roll rate. That is of course carried over from the later Sabres. The one that I have the most experience with is the F2, and I really did feel the roll rate of this really is reminiscent of the F2, and the fuselage certainly looks a lot more chunky, a lot heavier. This aircraft does also have a brake chute for landing. It has a drag chute, which you can actually see the hatch for that at the bottom of the rudder, at the very back of the airplane. That is where the drag chute is positioned. So generally pretty good there. In terms of controls, the elevator, it's an all flying tail. Same as the F2, same as the Japanese Sabres. All that's the same. It's basically just a beefed up Sabre. Hopefully for the second dev server they'll get the radar working. That would be absolutely brilliant. For the aircraft itself, I think it's meh. It's a decent counter for the G91Y, I would say, from the performance I've had. I was flying it spaded, I had all the mods, and it felt like a G91Y, maybe a bit more maneuverable. Although my G91Y does not have G-Suit, the G-Suit mod, so it does feel a bit heavier. You do black out a bit easier, so that might be the reasoning behind that. But this aircraft is certainly an interesting one, to say the least. An interesting one to look into, and a nice aircraft, I think, for the French to get. I think it's just an aircraft where Gaijin, what they should do is just throw it in all the tech trees who had it. It's a backup vehicle for whatever native vehicles they have. I think that is a good idea. So I think I will actually end the video there. Quite a short one, not much to go into. I think there's not much to talk about with this. No point stretching it out. I was going to show another game, but then I just thought, nah, it's just fighting bots. What's the point? So, yeah, there it is. The F-86K. Good airplane. Hopefully the radar is working for the next dev server. Or if they don't do another dev server, hopefully it's working for the live server. That would be absolutely brilliant. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, please consider smashing that like button. Maybe even subscribe to the channel. If you do, that would be massively appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.